everybody. I'm Steph Hodge, and before we get started real quick, I just wanted to mention if you're enjoying our segment here with Gen Con, make sure you turn in your tickets so everybody can know what you're liking and what you're enjoying watching with BGG, and it's just a reminder. So thank you for that. I am joined with Lauren and Brian of One Method Monkey, and today we get to look
Hello.
at Hey Cutie. How's it going, guys?
Wonderfully. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you. Give me a little bit about who you guys are. How did you come up with this game? A little bit of an overview of how this came to be.
Sure. So we're a small company out of North Carolina, and a lot of our inspirations are drawn from video games. So our last game was a big RPG homage, and we were looking at games and looking at board games, and we kind of saw this hole where there's kind of in the Steam PC ecosystem, there are a lot of these dating sims, these weird, quirky games, and we weren't seeing a lot of that in the board game space. So we wanted to see if we could kind of try to make a worthy entry into that series.
Very cool. Very cool. So what is Hey Cutie? How many people? Is it cooperative? The general details.
So Hey Cutie is a competitive game for 2 to 5 players. And the idea behind it is that you are trying to go on dates with your crushes. So there are a bunch of different people out on the field that all have different things that they want in a romantic partner. And you are trying to appeal to those needs and convince them to go out on a date with you. So it's a very competitive kind of cutthroat game where you're trying to steal each other's crushes and get that person that you really want to go out on a date with, whether that means throwing your opponent under the bus or playing nice, whatever it takes. So it's kind of a lightweight competitive game that normally takes about 15 to 45 minutes. And there's a little bit of strategy, a lot of take that. It's kind of this tongue-in-cheek comedy, quirky game meant to get you yelling at each other a little bit.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like a riot. So since you guys have it set up on your side, I mean, maybe you guys can walk us through a quick game since it could be pretty fast. Maybe you guys are experts at this or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lauren's gonna slide over there and she'll be handling all the components while I talk through everything. Our setup's a little bit blurrier than what you have, so hopefully you can see it all right. So we've got it currently set up for a 2-player game right now. And so on the table, you see crushes, you see flirt cards, and you see powers. And I'll kind of walk through what everything does and what you're trying to do. So the core of the game is dating crushes. It is saying, hey, cutie, you want to go somewhere with me? And every player starts the game with 2 crushes, one that is public and one that is private or hidden. Anybody can date any public crush on the board, so that's how you steal other people's crushes, but only you can date your own private crush. Only you know that you're eyeing those people. And every crush wants certain things out of a romantic partner. There are kind of 4 basic stats in the game. There is charm, there's brains, there's edge, and there is looks. And so at its core, the game is kind of a set collection game. You're trying to get the cards that help you appeal to those people. And the cards that you're primarily getting are flirt cards. They're these cheesy pickup lines or these gestures or these poses that each are associated with different attributes. Like you might have you might pose in a really strong way to make yourself good looking, or you might tell this really brainy, cheesy pickup line to appeal to that romantic person's interest in brainy people. And so you're collecting these cards that correspond to what these people want. And then on top of that, you got a few other things that we throw into the mix. So you have items. You can put on outfits and accessories, like you can put on extravagant boots to make yourself stand out, or you can put a fedora on your enemies to make them completely undateable. Or you can just grab a rocket launcher and really forcefully prevent someone from stealing your dates. And then there are these power cards, which are one-time limited effects that are kind of game changers. They're kind of like, hey, steal somebody's date instantly, or hey, wink slyly at someone to steal their cards. And so you use a mix of all of these things together to go out on dates and to steal other people's dates. And by the end of the game, the person who kind of dates the best ends up winning. For every date, you get a certain number of victory points, and you're trying to have the most victory points by the end game scenario. So Lauren's gonna start us out with the first player, and I'll just walk through what she's doing as she goes. So she currently has, in the first player spot, Rami is the public crush that she's interested in. And Rami wants 2 charm, 2 edge, and 2 look. So he's a little bit one of our more balanced crushes. And so she has a couple flirt cards that she started off the game with. One is just a wistful stare where you kind of stare off into nothing and hope your partner digs that. And then the other is this pickup line where you're just kind of very overt about it. Hey, I forget what that one says specifically. I think it's if you...
You remind me of a magnet because you sure are attracting me over here.
You remind me of a magnet because you sure are attracting me over here. So she doesn't have quite enough to date Rami, and so she needs to get more flirt cards. And the core mechanic of the game is super, super simple, super easy to pick up and play. There's a stack of flirt cards and 2 discard piles. You can pick up from any of those places. You can pick up from any of the discard piles or the stack. You look at your card, you choose whether to keep it or discard it. And then you pick up a second card and you do the other thing. So if you kept the first card, you have to discard the second card. And if you discarded the first card, you're stuck with the second card. So right now, Lauren picked up a charming pickup line that is going to appeal to Rami. And then since she kept that card, she picked up and discarded immediately another card from the stack. And that's pretty much her turn. If she wanted to play that power card, she could play it whenever. She could play it now. But it doesn't look like that's going to give her a super edge at the moment. So she's just going to end her turn, and that'll be it. And so now it is the second player's turn. And the second player is going after Winifred, who wants somebody really charming and really good looking. She's a very particular kind of firefighter. And so Lauren has a good charm pickup line. But she also has an item. She has extravagant boots, and the extravagant boots just make her more good looking. So she could equip that, and that provides a permanent bonus, but it also has a potential downside where if somebody doesn't want somebody good looking, then they're just going to write that person off immediately. So I think Lauren is going to equip those extravagant boots and just kind of put them on because they will help her with Winifred. And then she still has the rest of the turn. She can still pick up a card, keep it or discard it, and then pick up a second card. So she picked up an edge card, which is a book, an antique book, and it's not really going to help with Winifred. Winifred doesn't care about antique books. So she's just going to discard that and pick up another card, and this is a wild card. This is going to be able to fulfill kind of any stat. It just is, hey, I'm great at everything, or I'm super great at one thing. And so between the boots, the pickup line, and the wild card, I think she does have enough to go out on a date with Winifred. Oh. So she would play those cards down. Everybody's clapping now. She would play those cards down. She would discard the cards she played. The boots would stay out because they're just an item that is on her forever. And now she gets to go out on a date with Winifred. So she would take Winifred. She would put that out to the side. Winifred has now been dated, and she would draw another crush. And as she draws another crush, she gets to look at both of her crushes and decide, who am I going to make public? Who am I going to reveal to the world? And who am I going to keep private? So right now she's looking at Werner and I forget her name, Zoisite. She's looking at Werner and Zoisite, and she's decided that Werner is going to be the public crush. Everybody can try to steal Werner, but only she can date Zoisite. And so she's gone out on a date. At the end of the game, she will get some amount of points. Since it's her own crush that she dated, she gets more points. If she were to steal somebody else's crushes, she would get fewer points, but she would get to draw a power card for kind of her deviousness. So this is how you get more power cards. So now I'm just going to kind of let Lauren go nuts, and I'm going to narrate a little bit as she goes, and we'll just keep going until we found kind of a decent stopping point. So it's back to Rami's turn, and this pickup line seems to really appeal to what Rami wants. It appeals to that edge. So it's some kind of edgy pickup line like, hey, clothes are half off at my place is one we hear in that deck a fair bit. But it doesn't look like she quite has enough to date Rami. And, oh, do you? No, she doesn't quite have enough to date Rami. And she doesn't have enough to steal Werner. So she could use her sly wink and potentially steal some cards from her opponent, but her opponent doesn't really have any cards to steal because she played all those cards in the last turn. So that would be pretty much it for player 1's turn. And then it would go back to player 2, and player 2 is now still has her extravagant boots on, but now needs to draw up some more flirt cards to potentially date someone else. So she drew a really charming pickup line. Lauren, do you want to say what that pickup line does?
I know this is going to sound cheesy, but I think you're the greatest.
All right, I know this is going to sound cheesy, but I think you are the greatest. So greatest being spelled greatest, of course. There are a lot of puns, a lot of weird humor in this game. But she decided she did not want that. It really didn't appeal to what she wanted. So she drew an item, and she gets to keep that item. That is the cat suit, which lets her, what does that let you do? It lets you look at a secret crush and potentially steal somebody else's secret crush. So there is a way to like undermine your opponent. And now she might want to consider playing that workout card, since that workout card lets her draw any 2 cards from the draw area. So it lets her just build up her deck a little bit faster and maybe appeal to someone a little bit more immediately. So she's going to draw this neck massage, this really steamy, get back in there, massage him a little bit. And she's going to draw this bromance card, this compliments card, which is just 2 guys complimenting each other. And I don't think that gives her enough to date anyone immediately. So now it's going to go back to the first player's turn, and they are still trying to date Rami or date their hidden crush or steal Werner out from under player 2. And so she's going to reveal her hidden crush just so we can all see it. That's Naomi, our battle princess. So a lot of these crushes, some of them are very grounded and realistic, and some of them are like magical girls and battle princesses. And we've got a fish man inspired by the shape of water. And we've got a guy that's a mecha pilot. It's just a little bit all over the map, a little, tongue-in-cheek, humorous, not to be taken too seriously, just a lighthearted game with a little strategy to it. And so she picked up
I
that
had a quick question.
And
I was just wondering, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but you can complete either your hidden crush or the face-up crush or anybody else's face-up crush.
Yes. So the 2 crushes that you have are just yours, and you can complete your face-down crush if you want, because only you know about it. Or you can complete your opponent's face-up crush. Since you know about it, you can steal that crush, and that gives you fewer points at the end of the game, but you do get a power card for kind of stealing somebody else's date and being underhanded. So she could complete, or she could potentially date Naomi, that battle princess that she's got hidden, or she could go after Rami. And it looks like she's got enough cards to successfully go on a date. And she's stealing Werner. She is stealing that good knitting boy and going out on a date. And since she stole Werner, she places the card to the side face down to indicate that it's stolen, and she gets to draw a power card. And this power card is raised standard, so it makes other people harder to date. And now the player that just lost their public crush, they draw another crush to replace that. And again, they can decide which one is public and which one is private. So now we've got the magical girl versus the just charming painter who's painting a giant heart on her canvas. So she's making the magical girl public, and she's going to hide the painter from everyone and keep that a secret crush that only she can go out on a date with. But that would be player 1's turn, and then it would kick back off to player 2. And yeah, this is kind of the cycle. This is the core game. It's just building up these flirt cards and getting these sets. It's a set collection game at the end of the day. And then using those to go out on dates and steal other people's dates. And then periodically playing down power cards to throw your opponents under the bus or putting items on them that are bad. Right now, her player 2, she just got some mustache wax. So she can roll out in her extravagant boots and her mustache wax, which I think increases the character's edge and brains. Looks and edge, I'm sorry. It increases the character's looks and edge. So at this point, she could be super good looking and a little bit edgy, which actually might help in the case of Winifred, who wants somebody super good looking, but doesn't want anybody edgy. So mustache wax would be bad in that case. Winifred would be like, oh no, you're a little too much for me. I can't deal with this. and kind of leave her at the altar. But she is going to play this cat suit to look at her opponent's secret crush. And so she now knows about Naomi and can potentially steal Naomi. And it looks like that's exactly what she's... Oh, no, she's not planning on doing that. Doesn't quite have the cards for it.
In a minute. It looks like the item cards have a different back, so you could kind of judge what the top of the deck is a little bit.
So in the flirt deck, all of these... So that's actually a little cut off if you want to slide the flirt deck this way a little bit. So in the flirt deck, you can see the backs of all the cards, whether they're a brains flirt card or whether they're a charm flirt card or whether they're an item. So you do have a little bit of knowledge going in before you decide whether to draw a blind card, but you don't know what its number is going to be, or you don't know any special effects it might have.
Okay, that's cool.
And I think that's probably a good time. That's probably a good stopping point to wrap up the demo portion. This is kind of the core of the game. So everybody goes around until somebody has dated 5 crushes. And then once somebody has dated 5 crushes, you tally up total victory points. Your own crushes that you dated are worth 5. And then any crush that you stole is worth 3. And so whoever has the most victory points at the end, once that final victory point tallying happens, ends up being the winner. So right now, if we were just to end it now, Winifred, player 2, is a public crush that would be worth 5 points, and then player 1 would just get 3 points for that stolen crush. So player 2 would end up winning this game.
Oh, look at that. Very cool, very cool. Beth had a comment, Beth of BGG. She was like, she's fascinated that gender is not really a consideration in this game, i.e. any pairing is acceptable. Was this intentional or from an...
It was intentional. So we really wanted to have this game be open to whatever sexual orientation, whatever gender you identify as. So you can date whoever, and a lot of the characters are intentionally called out as being a certain gender using their pronouns. And some of the characters are left kind of vague. But yes, it's very much intentional that you can date whoever you want. If you want to tie yourself to a specific gender, you totally can. That is totally up to you. Or if you want to go after everyone, that's 100% okay. We wanted to make this game kind of welcoming to whoever wanted to play.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. So is this available now? How can one acquire Hey Cutie?
It is. So the best way is on our website, heycutiegame.com. We're selling it online right now. We're in a few stores, but we don't have a giant retailer presence, so it's kind of scattered all over the place. But our website is the best place. Yeah.
Excellent. And what else can you tell us about Hey Cutie? Just, is there any other information, or is there anything else you'd like to say from One Method Monkey that you want to talk about?
I think Hey Cutie's pretty well covered. That's pretty much the whole game. So there are 34 crushes in the game. It's a vast array of interesting, fun, weird little characters. So we think there's somebody in there for everyone to like. And then just in terms of One Method Monkey, today we're going to be announcing 2 brand new in-development games. I'll go ahead and say their names now. Knockout Punch, which is a fighting game inspired by Smash Brothers. And then Kitty Combs, which is a light cooperative dungeon crawler about navigating a catacomb as a group of kitties. So we'll be doing our official announcement later today, but cat's out of the bag.
Oh my gosh. I love Smash Brothers, so I will definitely be checking that one out when you announce about it. Awesome. That's very exciting. So everybody, you can check out Hey Cutie, One Method Monkey right here with Brian. And thank you for the demonstration, Lauren. It's been fun.
Thank you so much for having us.